As I recall, Poe liked Zaf and a diluted mixture of aqua regia for sympathetic ink.
True. A green tint would prove it, but I don't believe Mycroft used an acid. It might be simple rice water.
How can you prove it?
The proper vapor should provide us with an answer. Yes, rice water by all means. Here it is, Watson, gradually appearing. I'll read it. Sherlock, you've likely heard all of what follows at the Diogenes. I've prepared a digest as much to assuage my anxiety as for your convenience. May you have better reason to consult it than indulgence of my suspicious nature, or that its source is unavailable for comment. Allow me to re-emphasize the central points. 1. The moment the formula was discovered missing, my committee mounted a confidential inquiry. 2. Without substantive progress, the members inexplicably moved to adjourn. They would have terminated the inquiry altogether had I not intervened. Given their recalcitrance, my hopes are not high that we shall meet again. 3. Items 1 and 2 give rise to 2 questions. Who stole the formula, and why did the committee quash the investigation? I haven't a clue to the answers. Regrettably, my committee members must be considered as prime suspects in both matters. They are Lord Dennis Lawton, Mr. Horace Silverbridge, Sir Avery Fanshawe, and Mr. Philip Bledsoe. After initially promoting an investigation, they suddenly claimed that no theft had been proven, and that no vital information had been compromised. This is false. In unfriendly hands, this formula could have catastrophic consequences. Presuming the members are not traitors, idiots, or dupes, are they being coerced to make this patently ridiculous and dangerous claim? If so, by whom, and to what purpose? With respect to the theft, do not neglect ministry clerks, Thomas Pratt and Eldridge Whitney, and a feisty but engaging char named Agnes Ratchet. All 7 have sufficient means and opportunity to remove the document from its restricted room. You must discreetly discover the motive for the theft. I remind you that you have no official standing, and I must insist on complete confidentiality. For the moment, even the ministry must be off limits. Personnel should remain ignorant of your purpose, you may use no police resources, and you have no obvious leverage with the committee. Your inquiry must be organized by my suspicions and your own observations and deductions. I trust they will be sufficient. You've often found my suspicious nature amusing, and my penchant for clandestine measures absurd. So they may be, but as my current misgivings have devastating implications, I've taken these precautions in the event they may be well-founded. Mycroft. P.S. Did I mention that Dewar is securely hidden in Bermondsey, typically oblivious? At last, Watson, we have material facts. We have relevant knowledge and a structure on which to pin it. This matter is highly confidential, Watson. Are you continuing your journal entries?
Posterity deserves a record of our inquiry, Holmes, even if the current generation must be ignorant of it.
I'm acquainted with none of the suspects. Do you know any of them?
Lawton's is the only familiar name, but I'm not sure why. Perhaps we could discreetly trace them from the ministry.
For now, the ministry is off limits, and police inquiries are, of course, out of the question. This summary will shape our investigation. We must deal with Mycroft's suspicions without the assistance of other agencies. Kelly's might locate some of the suspects. Have you seen it?
Invaluable volume. It's around here somewhere, perhaps on the tea table. A team of archaeologists and a minor excavation might unearth it.
Mycroft's behavior is emblematic of two poles of his character. He is perspicacious and lazy.
What do you mean, Holmes?
He was perceptive and rigorous to the point where his analysis would have required physical effort. He suspected danger and took precautions. He prepared an encoded briefing. He called for assistance. But now he lies in hospital because he miscalculated the danger to himself. And that he did because it would have inconvenienced him to act upon the accurate calculation. Typical.
What are these other precautions? Who is Dewar?
Professor James Dewar is a chemist at the University of London. I suspect he is involved in either the invention or the perfection of the explosives formula Mycroft mentions.
Why hide him in Bermondsey?
A formula is often more by way of signpost for a mixture than an explicit recipe. Mycroft may have reasoned that the inventor of the complex formula was at risk from those who stole the formula.
Should we not check on him?
Indeed we must, but he's not first on my list. Mycroft has already done what he could for Dewar. Mycroft's list of the potential crimes missed it by one.
Yes, I see. He didn't consider someone might try to kill him. Given his other suspicions, the committee members are obvious candidates.
Neglect of the obvious must always be an error, Doctor. While I doubt their direct involvement, the crimes are certainly related. They may feed off one another.
We have a three-headed investigation. Who stole the formula and why? Who terminated the investigation and why? And who tried to kill Mycroft?
For the moment, I won't displace my attempt to find Mycroft's assailant with the other matters. Have we neglected assistance from any quarter, Watson?
I don't believe you've fully exploited your journalistic connection. I know you value his knowledge and connections.
It may be time to pay him another visit. It's time we made a move, Watson.
Carry on, Holmes. I'll follow your lead.
How may I help you, gentlemen?
I am Sherlock Holmes. Might I have a word with Lord Lawton, please?
Might I say, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Holmes, and Dr. Watson, I presume. I'll see if his lordship is at home.
The house has rather gone to seed.
Is it unseemly to wonder at the causes of its decline?
On the contrary, it would be unnatural not to. The details could be quite delicious. The decline appears to have been precipitous.
There may have been tragedy or financial misadventure. It would be indecent to speculate.
Rubbish. Few human activities are so banal as to be undeserving of healthy curiosity. Reversal of fortune is by definition interesting. You've remarked, I imagine, that Jenkins is devoted to billiards.
Indeed, the quantity of chalk dust on his waistcoat bespeaks a pathological compulsion more than a relaxing diversion.
I wonder if I might somehow use his devotion to the game. Is there any expression more infuriating and idiotic than that one?
What are you rattling about, Holmes?
At home, that's what. Ridiculous locution. He either tells us that Lawton's at home, which we already know, or claims that Lawton is not at home, which is demonstrably false. The whole business makes a liar of him, and fools of us.
Calm yourself. It's merely a social convention.
Well, it's daft, and more inconvenient than most of those ridiculous relics. If the man won't see us in, what's wrong with plain English? Would you describe me as a tactful person, Watson?
That is not the first adjective that springs to mind, though you might learn tact. Dame Experience is the best teacher, though we often suffer by her tutelage.
Lord Lawton regrets that he is not at home. You may leave your card if you wish.
I am always available at 221B Baker Street. You've been having a good run at the table?
Decent. I'm playing defensively. Left his lordship without much to shoot at. He'd never win a game if I knew the diamond system.
Please inform Lord Lawton that this is not a social call. We have critical business to discuss with him.
Very well, Mr. Holmes. That may make a difference to him. No, my lord, I will not. Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, my lord.
My position requires further reflection. Billiards is fascinating, don't you think? At my brother's request, I am looking into the disappearance of the formula from the ministry.
And as a courtesy to your brother, I interrupt my leisure to receive you, but you abuse civility. The committee eventually judged that so-called disappearance to be unworthy of our attention, evidently not dissuaded by our good sense. You come here to waste my time.
I could understand it. After investigation and due deliberation you had concluded that nothing untoward had occurred. But such was not the case. Why was the inquiry so precipitously and inconclusively terminated?
I won't be cross-questioned by you, Mr. Holmes, on this or any other subject.
Are you aware that Mycroft has been injured in an explosion?
I'm sorry, but that's hardly my affair.
I think an attempt was made on his life. The blast was related to the disappearance of the formula.
It's the nature of your business to think so, isn't it? Conspiracy theories are mother's milk to the consulting detective.
Are you purposely offensive or merely obdurate?
It is not my intention to be either. But if I am, it does not concern me. You have no position, no standing, and no authority.
We know Lawton doesn't want to talk. We don't know why.
An accurate, though not particularly helpful observation.
Has the subject closed his mouth? He may be more forthcoming on less volatile topics.
Besides which fork to use with the fish course?
A touch, Watson. A distinct touch, for all his information may be worth. Do you recall that gouty old fellow from Hampshire, Watson? Kept gerbils?
I do, Holmes. His affliction was so advanced, we swore he could chalk his billiard cue with his knuckles.
Very economical, I suppose. Why have some of the furnishings been allowed to deteriorate?
Want of money, of course. The present Lord's personal habits have impoverished us and ruined our reputation.
I'm sorry, Jenkins. It must be a sore trial for you.